I want to point out that the people that have cameras on this right now, because we don't see a lot of black folks in media, but we do see them out here, boots on the ground, just going by what the community supports. And we do see the broadcast. You usually see a certain type of demographic on the other side of the broadcast cameras, but I want us to be aware of that before we start speaking about what KSTP said. Law enforcement officials criticized Brooklyn Center's policing policy. First off, why are you speaking for law enforcement?
Listen!
Why are you being a mouthpiece for these people?
Well,
If this was a headline that had Dante's father and mother speaking, it would say, people of murdered child criticize the hell out of this right here. Why can't we run with that headline? The people criticize your murderers. And why can't we be in the court while they're holding that white woman accountable? Screaming taser, reaches for her Glock 22. Let me educate you on something. Kim Potter had been an officer longer than Dante Wright had been alive.
Listen!
say that again.
Kim Potter had been an officer longer than Dante Wright had been alive. So if you're going to tell me a woman reaching for a Glock 22 thinks that it's a taser, pulls out said Glock 22, still thinks that it's a taser, pulls the trigger on a Glock 22, still thinks that it's a taser, and is going to run with that BS, I say hell no.
Hell
All right,
I
listen.
say hell no.
Hell no!
Hell no.
Hell no!
And furthermore, Kim Potter is a training officer. This is the person that's supposed to be educated on tasers and Glock 22s. Her husband is a training officer that teaches taser policy. So if you're going to tell me the one person that didn't know what a taser was the person that's educated on it for over 2 decades, married to somebody that has been training people on it for over 2 decades, and still can't get it right in the eyes of a young black man
Listen!
who's calling for his mother and had been pulled over and is scared for his life.
Speak!
If that doesn't speak mediocrity, I don't know what does. And then for Gannon, the former police chief, to raise the blue line banner afterwards,
Yes, speak on
that
that.
tells you how they feel about this community, how they feel about young black men, and how they feel about themselves killing people with impunity. So when you get a policy change, maybe you need to look yourself in the mirror and say, wow, maybe we are messing up. Wow, maybe something does need to change here. Wow, maybe we need to take a look at the union that's protecting all of these murderous officers and then putting them back on the force. And then lastly, when you look at communities like this that were tear gassed, that are under-resourced, that are neglected, there's a reason to that. And when this policy changes, the reason why they're whining and complaining is because of their money. And they had no reason to cry because 40% of this city's money goes to that atrocity. And it shouldn't be like that. There should be resources going to kids. Should be resources going to these people right here. These brown and black folks, these folks in Brooklyn Center. Those resources should be going to them. So for the new police chief to say this is a ruse, it's more of the same. It's more of a ruse. That's what he said. It's more of the same. It's the same thing in Minneapolis. More of the same. But the thing is that the more of the same that you trowel out, the more that will be here.
Listen!
To say his name. Say his name. Say his name. Say his name. They want people to go back home, sit on the couch, be satisfied, and be okay with another police officer troweling out BS like that in the headlines. And we're saying no more because we're not going to go for it anymore. So that police chief either needs to step down. He needs to step down for using offensive language.
What'd you say?
Because we can pull up to his house too. We can pull up and use some language towards him as well. We can tell him about himself too. And also for these media outlets, stop being a mouthpiece for the cops. Stop. Because we see it. It's not like in the shadows anymore. We know when you're talking to the union. We know when you're talking to the BCA. We know when you're talking to Drew Evans down at the BCA. We know when you're talking to these folks. All right? We see it. It's obvious. It's dumb. Stop doing it. Talk to the families. If you're gonna quote stuff about this, get like verification and grace from the family, and stop talking to the BCA. I mean, just stop being a mouthpiece for them. And so for this police chief to say this about Dante Wright and about the policy change, it should be the reverse. He should be, we need to bring some damn change around here. And we need to not spend money on a permanent fence over here.
That's right.
Listen!
Whatever permanent fence they put up there, that can get decorated too. That
Listen!
can get decorated every week.
It will.
That can get decorated every week, and they can spend money to deal with that as well. So, as I say, All power to the people. And say his name. Say his name. What's his name? Say his name. All power to Dante Wright.
All power to the people.
The people got power.